let's say,
yeah,
that is connected to some of this, and I think it's connected more than we realize. You know, there's more of this going on than we think, and that is one of the reasons for which the deck is rigged, right, and tilted, and the game is all tilted in the favor of other people, unless we also realize of the, you know, we can all tap into all sorts of, you know, we can tap into the good side of that force if we want to. It's just that we haven't been trained to, right? And so we don't really know how to do it. And also, the other thing that's coming to mind is that we always operate within free will law, and free will, if you operate within free will law, that is how you're supposed to do to be spiritually aligned. It also limits you in some ways, right? Because of course, if you can do whatever you want, like Aleister Crowley says, then there's no limits, and then you can do all sorts of stuff that is not very positive, but it gives you more power, right? So these people are after the power, and they don't really have a lot of reticence about what methods they use to get there, right? So it's all very fascinating. I don't know, I find it all very fascinating. I don't know what kind of genes I have, right, because I find this kind of stuff interesting.
Well, I do too, and what's interesting is I was really consumed by this stuff like 2 or 3 years ago, and I still find it to be very interesting, because it is the mechanism, and it is probably the dark and invisible organizing principle on the planet right now. I think you and I would agree with that.
Yeah. At least on one level, yes. On
one level, yeah. A very physical level, right? I mean, physical, maybe, you know, fourth dimensional, you know.
We can bypass it. I always feel that I have to say this. It's almost like, I know that your listeners have heard me say this a million times, but I almost feel that every time I explain something about the dark, I also have to say, we always, it's a question of not leaving people with powerlessness, right? Yeah. We also have power. We can transform all of this.
Yeah,
okay?
I agree.
Talking about it does not mean that we think, oh my God, they have all this power and poor us, and I'm not into that. Okay? Right. So it's interesting. It's important to know to some degree. Basically, it's important to some degree to know what game is being played.
Yeah.
So that we can have awareness. Oh well, this is the game then, and therefore we can do X or Y or Z. If you have zero awareness of what the game is, then you can be railroaded much more easier, right? So that's the intent and the purpose of it. And then, just on a very personal level, I have Pluto-Uranus square the Moon and the Ascendant, and Pluto sextile Mercury. Pluto has another aspect with my Mars. I can't remember which one it is. Basically, I have Pluto all over my chart. So to me, it's also fascinating as a researcher. Do you know what I mean? I find interest in it, right? So I think, and that's kind of interesting when you were saying about the fact that Charles Manson has Pluto in the 4th.
Yeah.
I have Pluto in the 4th.
Oh, interesting.
So I think it's, you know, you have, there's the ones that have Pluto in the 4th and they act it out, right? And then there's the ones that have Pluto in the 4th and they research the people that act it out.
Oh, right, yeah.
We're a match. Right.
So, what was I gonna say? Oh, before.
But you were saying about the research 2 or 3 years ago. You were into it. Do you know what I mean? And so on.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was a time where I couldn't get enough of it. You know,
right.
It was like really filling a lot of things for me, and I find that that's changing a little bit for me. And that doesn't mean I'm not interested in it. I'm in denial, but there's something else that's opening up for me, and I'm more interested in exploring that other thing.
Yeah.
That's opening.
Yeah. So, and you know, I feel the same in a different way, but I feel the same. It's like I am, that I have this group that I've been running for a while, the Warrior Visionaries group.
Yeah.
And I am almost, I love the people that are in the group, right? So if anybody that's listening to this and they're in my group, to know that it's got nothing to do with who's in the group, okay? It's but I am coming to the end of my energetic investment with doing that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I don't even know, I haven't quite figured it out exactly what it is, but it's a similar thing to what you're talking about. It's almost like, okay, we've done this and everybody knows about this now. Is there really a need to keep on going on and on and on about it all the time? And I feel almost now that I feel I need to write a book. Instead of doing group work, I feel I need to write a book about the things that I know. And some of my story about why I know some of the things that I know. And with some of the tools that I want people to have to counteract it. And I feel that then that's it. I'm done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I've come to the completion. And then after that, I really don't know what's going to come after, but I feel like you that we are moving into another phase, right?
Yeah.
Where it's not just about talking about what they're up to, and the word that's coming to me is healing. We need healing now. Like we've done the exposing, and now we need to go into healing, personally and collectively, so that we can move beyond this and take our power back in a more serious way, right? Mm-hmm. That is not just about reading about stuff, but it's about, okay, now what do we do? Let's create a new world, right?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
So let's create a new world, Robert.
Let's do it.
We have the know-how.
Well, so this is what keeps coming up for me is that the reason why the reason why like the Gulf War happened, the reason why the neocons sort of came to rise to power in the post 9/11 world is that they had a much more focused and intense vision, and were more invested in their imagination, even though it was a dark imagination.
Yeah.
And the key to it is investing in imagination, investing in vision, investing in creativity. And I know that it's hard because people are on the ropes financially. At times we're on the ropes physically because we're getting hammered from all different directions.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you don't have many choices. And the choices are you can either check out unconsciously and see where that takes you. Mm-hmm. You can check out consciously, and there's different ways you can do that. Maybe you get out of the country, go live in an island somewhere, and and take your best shot at creating your own reality. It's a conscious checkout. Then there's the ultimate checkout. You end your life. Mm-hmm. Those are three options in the checkout phase. And if you don't take any of those options and you're here, then what are your options? And your option at that point is, well, if you're not going to check out, then check in as consciously as you can. Mm-hmm. Do your best with your body. Do your best with your emotions. Do your best with the heaviness in the world around you. Don't shirk from it, but always do your best to keep moving forward to things that are going to feed your imagination, feed your creativity, and do your best to create a greater sense of love and connection, because that's it, and that's the only way that we're going to get through this. Yeah,
although I'm going to add something to that, if that's okay, about power, right? Because you have the main. I think that the main thing where, let's call them the powers that be, or the powers that were, or whatever, right?
Right.
The main grip that they have on humanity in general is that they have convinced us somehow that we are powerless.
I agree.
Right? And we're not. We're not powerless at all.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that power comes from, as you were talking about, the imagination, right?
Yeah.
And the power to create. But if you start, and I'm not talking you, Robert, I mean you in general, right? If we start from the premise of feeling powerless, right? That we do not have, that there's not much that we can do. Do you know what I mean? That there's not much that can be done. Then even the imagination that follows from that ends up being a bit depressed and doesn't have much of a punch to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I really, truly feel that, and I'm not saying that I have got this licked, because I have my moments, and we're all human, and we fluctuate emotionally.
Sure.
Human beings, we have waves, right, of emotion, and sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down, and that fluctuation is part of who we are, and it's part of the beauty of being human, but it's also it's a gift and a weakness at the same time in terms of this particular game. And it's a weakness because we do lose focus. We have a down day and we do lose focus. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
But if we could remind ourselves at any given time that we really truly do have the power to create positive change. We just do, period. We start from that affirmation, from that assumption. And then it's almost as if you can start from there, then the universe starts to open doors that show you how you can make that change, rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making any sense. Because
no, you make sense, and I do think that your addition to what I was sharing is important, because that is, and again, it is hard to understand that we can be receptive to co-creating with power, and to and to have a powerful stance or a powerful conviction or power. It's hard at times, especially when, and you know this and I know this. You're scraping around for to put about 5 gallons of gas in your car, or to go down to the store and grab some potatoes, or to get up in the morning and say, I feel like shit this morning. Yep. How can I feel powerful this morning? It's hard sometimes to ground that, but ultimately it's essential, and we have to find strategies and ways and means to kind of get through that. And a lot of that has to do with support, and if you have support from people, emotional support, that can be a great lift. If you have spiritual support, if you can meditate and remember what it's like to be in a place where you feel like you're in the groove, or you're in the flow, or you're in the pocket, that's really important too. So, and I think that from what I know, you have had lots of support, and you've given lots of support to other people. You give support to me all the time, and I think we can't underestimate how important that is for each one of us in our lives.
Well, it is, and also even on the that dipping in and out of a place of sustained powerfulness. Okay. Yeah. There's a reason for that. We are not isolated in our consciousness, right? Yeah. Like, we belong to consciousness streams that I literally see that are collective. Now, these consciousness streams, at least at the 3D level, are being constantly pumped with crap. Sorry, pardon the French, but it's true, right? They're being pumped with this, there's an economic depression, you can't make it, you can't do this, and now it's really bad times, and it's not a good time to start a business right now, and nobody's going to pay for your services, do you know what I mean? And it's all bad, and even if you make it, there's this whole pumping of stuff, right? And this is without even going into the more esoteric pumping of stuff that is going into